excited to begin and bring our writing today with you. We're going to start out with our teacher or adult structure around things that you can do to really support your students at home. And so I'm going to throw it over. I got a secret, not so secret, but awesome guest with me today. I've got Tyson Jones. He is an amazing person. We've been working together for quite some time. We actually taught in the classroom back in the day together. It was very, very cool. So I'm going to let him introduce himself.
About a decade ago.
Oh, wow.
I know, that's pretty crazy. Hey guys, I'm Tyson. Like Michael said, he and I go way back. I'm currently an administrator in Richardson ISD, but very much ELA oriented. Back in the classroom, I taught fourth grade reading and writing, in addition to second grade. So whenever Michael reached out to me about this, I was super excited. So I'm glad to be here.
Man, it's awesome. We don't get a chance to work together as much as we used to, but we love it, man. It's so much fun. So what we want to talk to you a little bit today is about two types of praise. So when we talk to our students and we work with our students, we want to be really considerate about the things that we offer them up as feedback for what they're doing, because we have to remember what we praise is going to be repeated. So think about that. What you praise is repeated. So we want to be really specific about what we're doing and how we're doing it. So I'm going to let Tyson talk for just a minute about the difference between praising a person and praising a process.
I think a lot of times we find ourselves giving person praise because it's the easiest. It comes to mind the quickest, like, hey, great job, Michael. And it just kind of stops there. Or I like blank. So person praise, like the examples we just gave, is a little bit more general, and it's not necessarily targeted towards any specific thing. So process praise is the type of praise that we're going to be talking about more today. And that's when you are specifically praising the process that a student has gone through. Like, instead of just good job, Michael, it would be, hey, I really like the way that you used very descriptive words whenever you were writing about the topic. Or, Michael, I really like the way that you were on a voice level 0 in the halls when you were transitioning from the classroom to the gym.
And I think that's especially apparent when we've just taught something to our students. We want to make sure we reinforce that by praising what we just taught. So for instance, if I was working on ending punctuation, and so I was to get to the end of a sentence and you're looking at my writing, you would say, hey, I noticed that you used a period at the end of your sentence. That's really good. We just talked about that. Keep doing that, right? So you just add in that reinforcement all the way through. So we're going to jump through and we're going to give you an example and you're going to get to check it out.
So in this instance, and I'm thinking of, being a classroom teacher, trying to make the pass through monitoring all the kids. This is when person praise kind of is the quickest, like, hey, Michael, good job. I love your writing, with absolutely like no specificity behind it. But kind of like you mentioned earlier, it would be a really good way to tie it to something specific that I've just been teaching. Like, hey, Michael, I love the way that you use an exclamation point after hey guys to emphasize excitement behind the statement. We just talked about different ending punctuation marks and the different emotions that they can show. So I'm really pleased that you use that. Also, instead of just, hey, cool writing, Michael, I like that you worked hard to make sure that all of your sentences are complete sentences. We talked earlier today about fragments and run-ons. So I like how you made sure that each sentence had exactly what it needed to be a complete sentence.
Perfect. So think through that as you work with your students, knowing that there are a lot of things that they may have been working on. And I know some of you are parents working with your students at home, and so you may not have known what they've been taught recently. But if you're noticing things, or you've been working with them over the past few weeks and you've started to notice some of those things, bring out those things that are being changed and those things that are different. And it doesn't have to be lengthy. As you saw, what Tyson did was very short, very succinct, and to the point, and reinforced. Think about, it doesn't always have to be in terms of saying something positive. Even just the noticing of it is positive for a student, right? So sometimes instead of just saying, hey, it's really amazing, or it's the best thing I've ever seen, right? You can just say, it's really simple. Hey, I noticed you used an exclamation point at the end there, right? Just like Tyson did. He said, hey, I noticed you used an exclamation point at the end. It lets me know that you're excited, right? We want to continue to feed that purpose behind what they're doing. So keep that in mind. We're going to jump into our writing project here. All right, students, welcome. We are excited. I've got Mr. Tyson Jones here with me, and we are ready to rock and roll. All right, we are going to really dig in here, right? As writers, it's really important for us to pay attention to what the author is using inside of their writing to support what they're doing, right? So the author chooses very specifically the things that they use inside of their text that they write to show us different things and try to get us to feel and think certain ways. So we want to pay attention to that, because what we want you to do later on is we want you to get in there and we want you to do some writing, and you're going to actually model one of these features and include it to try to enhance your point or make your point better through the writing that you're doing. And we don't always use it in persuasive writing. Sometimes we use it to get people to feel a certain way, to get them to feel excited, right? You may see a text feature like a giant word, boom, right? Because we want people to feel how big that was, right? We want them to jump, ah! So I'm going to switch over here real quick, and Mr. Tyson Jones is going to be reading an article for us. It's a very short article, so we're just going to jump on in and check that out.
All right, guys. So souvenir business in Central America is killing off hawksbill sea turtles. Hawksbill sea turtles are endangered. This means not many are left in the wild. They are in danger of dying out. Yet, people still hunt the hawksbill. They want its beautiful shell. And then you see there in the picture is some examples of different items that are made from hawksbill. Hawksbill shells are gold, amber, and brown. They are very pretty. For this reason, jewelry is made from them. So are combs and other items. These products are sold in places where people go on vacation. Tourists buy up turtle shell products. This is bad for the turtles. It leads to more turtles being hunted. Program to protect turtles. Now a program is trying to protect the turtles. It is called Too Rare to Wear. The program wants to keep shells where they belong, on turtles. The program was started by Brad Nahill. In 2015, he took a trip to Nicaragua. This is a country in Central America. Many tourists visit and shop there. Mr. Nahill went shopping too. He looked for stores that did not sell turtle shell products. He found only one. That was when he decided to start teaching tourists about turtles. And here you see the author has decided to use a graphic feature that shows the reader how to identify if a product is imitation hawk shell or if it's made from real turtle shell. Too Rare to Wear has a website to teach about the hawksbill. It is not easy to tell if something is made out of a real shell. The site shows people how. Then it asks them to sign a pledge. A pledge is like a promise. The signer promises not to buy turtle shell items. They also promise to shop only in turtle-friendly stores. If people stop buying, people will stop hunting. Hawksbill sea turtles are protected by law. Hunting them is illegal, but people still do it. This will go on until people stop buying turtle shell. Only then will it stop. That is why Mr. Nahill is teaching buyers. Many sellers know sea turtles are in danger. They sell turtle shell anyway. Why? Because people buy it. So people must stop buying. Then stores will stop selling.
Awesome. So let's think back. Let's go back here to the infographic. Right, there it is. And Mr. Jones, why do you think the author included this infographic on here?
Well, kind of like how the article talked about, it can be pretty difficult to determine the difference between imitation and turtle shell. So I think in this case, it was important for him to include very specific visual examples between the two so that the reader see the difference between the two.
Yeah, I definitely think it's really powerful for us to be able to see that. Not only does it serve the purpose of supporting what he's talking about, but it also gives a way for people to take action, which is pretty cool. So,
yeah, definitely.
I think it's awesome that he included this. So I think a lot of times authors really take the time to um, include graphics and things like that to make things more visual and more accessible to us as the reader. So we know that oftentimes there's a variety of people that are reading what we're writing, and so we want to make sure that they have access to it. And that they're able to understand what we're talking about. I think I understand a lot more the whole point of the article just by looking at this one graphic, right?
Oh, yeah.
How does this help you understand if you were to just look at the graphic before you read the article, how would that help you understand what he was trying to say?
If I looked at it before reading the article, um, it definitely speaks to the fact that this is something that he's passionate about because he took the time to put it in there. And I think it's very informative and very useful in regard looking at the difference between the two. I think before reading it, I definitely wouldn't have been as passionate about the cause as I am now after reading it, because one of the things that makes it stand out to me is it's very evident in reading it, and then with the graphic, just how important this is to the author.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I think we really understand more when people provide additional places for us to access that, right? And so something that we want to do, students, when we're authors, is we want to think about how we can talk to our audience in the best way possible. We want to think about our audience the whole time that we're writing. So we really want to think about who's reading it and how they can understand what we're writing better. And so that's really important for us to think about. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to have you start and do some writing. So think about one thing that people need to stop doing. So in this instance, people needed to stop buying the Hawksbill turtle shells, right? So there are a lot of things out there that people need to stop doing. So think about that. So go ahead and start writing out some of those ideas. And as you finish up with your writing, think of a good graphic that supports the thinking behind what you're doing. So we want something that has meaning towards what you're doing. It could be a poster, it could be a picture. You could find a picture and put it in there. It could be something that you draw, right? But we want to put it in a spot that helps people understand why you're writing what you're writing. So it's important to communicate. All right, ready? Set?